Hello everyone, welcome to How to Tutors, and today we'll be doing a poetry analysis of It Is a Beauteous Evening, Calm and Free by William Wordsworth. Stay tuned for more. About the poet William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth was born in the United Kingdom in 1770. He died in 1850. He was one of the founders of the Romantic movement in poetry. He had a great love for nature. As many of Wordsworth's other poems, this poem is a reflection on nature and a sort of conversation with presumably his daughter. It is suffused with religious overtones. Summary of the poem. On a beautiful evening, the speaker thinks that the time is quiet as a nun, and as the sun sinks down on the horizon, the gentleness of heaven broods over the sea. The sound of the ocean makes the speaker think that the mighty being is awake, and with his eternal motion, raising an everlasting sound like thunder. The speaker then addresses a young girl who walks with him by the sea and tells her that though she appears untouched by the solemn thought that he himself is gripped by, her nature is still divine. He says that she worships in the temple's inner shrine merely by being, and that God is with thee when we know it not. This poem is thought to have originated from a real moment in Wordsworth's life, when he walked on the beach with a daughter he had not known for a decade. William Wordsworth was fascinated by the innocence of children and their natural connection to nature. He viewed it as an expression of their deeper innocence, that they were not affected by the beauty of the natural surroundings, the same way that he were not moved to tears the same way that he was. Thus, he came to the conclusion that nature, to Wordsworth akin to the divine, was lost when man grew older. Structure of the poem. It is a beauteous evening, calm and free is a sonnet. It has 14 lines grouped into two parts, the octave, the first 8 lines, and the sextet, the last 6 lines. A thematic shift called the turn or volta marks the transition between these two parts of the poem. The rhyme pattern shifts in line 9 as well. These are all conventional features of the sonnet, but the rhyme scheme here is a bit unconventional. It's close to, but doesn't quite follow the Italian sonnet form. The rhyme scheme of the octave of a conventional Italian sonnet is A, B, B, A, A, B, B, A, while rhyme scheme of the sestet is C, D, E, C, D, E, or C, D, C, D, C, D, though variations are allowed. However, in Wordsworth's sonnet, the first 8 lines rhyme A, B, B, A, C, C, A, while the last 6 lines use an unusual D, E, F, D, F, E variation. In the context of the sonnet, the speaker is following a formal tradition, but with a variation. This is a fitting choice for a poem that's traditionally pious in some ways, but would have been considered at the time unorthodox in its expression of religious sentiment. For example, the poem's claim that children have a special connection with God is more characteristic of Wordsworth's private beliefs than the standard Christian doctrine of his era. The sonnet form is also associated with love, so Wordsworth may have seen it as a fitting choice for a poem about love of God and nature. Let us go through the poem. It is a beauteous evening, calm and free, lines 1 to 8, original text. It is a beauteous evening, calm and free. The holy time is quiet as a nun. Breathless with adoration, the broad sun is sinking down in its tranquility. The gentleness of heaven broods over the sea. Listen, the mighty being is awake, and doth with his eternal motion make a sound like thunder everlasting. Let's see what lines 1 to 8 translate to in modern English. Line 1, it's a beautiful, peaceful, leisurely night. Lines 2 to 4, the hour of the evening prayer services is as hushed as a nun whose love of God takes her breath away. The giant sun is setting calmly. Line 5. Heaven, the sky of God, seems to watch tenderly over the ocean. Line 6. Pay attention. God is at work here. Lines 7 to 8. And his movements make an eternal thundering sound, i.e. the sound of the sea. Lines 9 to 14, original text. Dear child, dear girl, that walk'st with me here, if thou appear untouched by solemn thought, thy nature is not therefore less divine. Thou liest in Abraham's bosom all the year, and worshipst at the temple's inner shrine, God being with thee when we know it not. Lines 9 to 14 in modern English. Line 9. Oh, beloved little girl walking beside me. Lines 10 to 11. If you don't seem awestruck in this setting, so if you're not surprised or mesmerized in this setting, it doesn't mean you're any less spiritual by nature. It's lines 12. Line 12. It's just that you feel divine comfort all the time. Line 13. And as a child, have special access to the holiest experiences. Line 14. You feel God's presence even when we adults aren't aware of it. Let's go through the analysis. Line 1. It is a beauteous evening, calm and free. Beauteous means beautiful. The atmosphere is very peaceful and tranquil, so there's a lot of tranquility. A person is completely at ease, no worries or stress. Evening. It is often the most gentle and quiet time of the day. Calm suggests a mood that is peaceful, tranquil, and utterly quiet. Free implies free of stress, worries, or pain. Line 2. The holy time is quiet as a night. Personification. This is personification and a simile as well. So personification and a simile add a religious element to the poem. Holy time, the evening, is compared to a nun that is quiet as she is in prayer. She is close to God and she loves God. Lines 3 to 4. Breathless with adoration, the broad sun is sinking down in its tranquility. Breathless, cannot even hear her breathe. This emphasizes the silence, just as the nun is breathless with adoration. So she's out of breath with adoration for her God. So does the feeling of this time and place take away the poet's breath with awe at the beauty of God's creation. The speaker links the beauty of nature to God, the creator of earth and its beauty. The broad sun, as the sun sets, it seems to become a large orange-red ball, and the colors of sunset stretch out across the horizon. This adds to the serene, peaceful atmosphere. Line 5. The gentleness of heaven broods over the sea. This is personification. Heaven is described as being gentle. This adds to the peaceful atmosphere. The gentleness of heaven, the sea is reflecting the sky's heaven or heaven. It is calm and gentle. It is beautiful and godly. Broods. Contemplates deeply. Heaven seems to watch over the sea below. Figuratively, God is watching over the world. Line 6. Listen, the mighty being is awake. Listen is a command, and the exclamation mark intensifies it and indicates the excitement of the speaker. A very quiet moment is broken by this imperative order. The poet wants his companion to be an active participant in the scene. Mighty being literally refers to the sea, figuratively refers to God. The capital letter in being implies that although the speaker is referring to the sea, the capital letter links the sea to God, the almighty being. Both the sea and God are awake and eternal, and neither stop moving. Line 7. And doth with his eternal motion make. Doth, does. Eternal motion. God and the sea are eternal and will go on forever. Motion, make. The alliteration emphasizes the thunderous sound of the sea. Line 8. A sound like thunder everlastingly. This is a simile. Breaking waves sound like thunder indicates power of nature and God the thunderous sound of waves. Contrasts with the calm and quiet of lines 1 to 3. The dash creates a pause and emphasizes the word which follows, everlastingly. Without the pause, there would not be such a strong emphasis. It is the end of the octave, but it indicates that God's creation, and by inference, God is forever. Line 9, dear child, dear girl, that walkest with me here. Dear child, dear girl, is said in a loving tone. He expresses his love and adoration for his daughter. Lines 10 to 11, if thou appear untouched by solemn thought, thy nature is not therefore less divine. Untouched by solemn thought, she seems oblivious to the beauty around her. Wordsworth tells his daughter that although she does not seem to have been affected by the depth of feeling in the scene, he can assure her that it makes no difference to what is true. Even if she doesn't know or understand it now, she is still made of the same divine material as all creation. Even if she is not touched by the beauty of the scene, it does not mean she is removed from God or less spiritual. Line 12, thou liest in Abraham's bosom all the year. In Abraham's bosom, this is a metaphor. It refers to heaven. Like a father holds a baby to protect it, the girl is unknowingly protected by God. All the year, at all times, God is always present to protect her. Line 13, and worships at the temple's inner shrine. The temple's inner shrine, reference to nature. Even if she does not express devotion to God or spend time in a physical place of worship like a church, God is always present in nature. Line 14, God being with thee when we know it not. This is assonance, repetition of the E sound in being, thee, we, emphasizes God's presence. God is with you, even if you're not aware of it. The themes in the poem. The first one is the holiness of nature. The speaker celebrates the majestic, even holy beauty of the natural world. Out for a walk at sunset, the speaker describes the evening's beauty in worshipful terms, comparing its quiet to that of an awestruck nun and sensing the presence of the mighty being that is God, behind the vast sky and sea. The poem urges an appreciation for the beauty and power of nature, and also for the divine being that makes such beauty possible. As the poem's opening line reveals, the speaker is struck by the world's peace and quiet during an evening stroll by the sea. The night is beauteous, beautiful, and calm. The sun is sinking down over the horizon in utter tranquility as the sky hangs gently over the ocean. The speaker compares this holy time of day, a reference to evening, vespers or prayers, to a nun, breathless with adoration. In other words, it's so quiet, it's as though the world itself is holding its breath out of respect for nature's beauty, just as a nun is made breathless by her love of God. The holiness of nature continued. The speaker's descriptions of nature are, in fact, filled with religious imagery that links the beauty of the evening and of nature more generally to God, and thus presents this beauty as worthy of reverence. For example, the speaker calls the sky above the ocean the gentleness of heaven, suggesting that it's the place where God calmly watches over the world. The thunderous sound of the ocean, meanwhile, is the eternal motion of the mighty being. That is, God is the one making the waves move and also the powerful mover and shaker behind all things. Overall, the speaker's language portrays the natural world as a divine creation capable of admiring its own handiwork. Struck by the spectacle, the speaker encourages greater awareness of and appreciation for both nature and the divine spirit behind it. The speaker suddenly tells a companion to listen, a command that turns out to be addressed to the speaker's daughter, but initially seems to be addressed to the reader. On one level, it directs the daughter's and reader's attention to the thunder-like sound of the sea. On another, it urges the reader to appreciate the natural beauty as an expression of God's power, to pay attention to the work of the mighty being. The speaker also emphasizes the divine element present in the girl's own nature. This language implies that human beings are themselves a part of nature and thus a part of the divine. The poem therefore implies that people should be more closely in tune with both. These are very good discussion poems for a poetry. These are very good discussion points for a poetry essay. In case you're given the option to do that and you need to discuss, this would be a good one. And these points, the themes, are great points to include in your poetry essay. The second theme, childhood and faith. Towards the end of the sonnet, the speaker addresses a dear child, Wordsworth, younger daughter, when she doesn't seem especially awestruck by the evening's beauty. The speaker reasons that this is because for children, feeling close to God is an everyday occurrence. Kids maintain a natural sense of faith and wonder at all times, so they don't necessarily react with solemn awe to what adults would consider sacred moments. At the same time, the speaker believes that children feel God's presence in moments that might not seem especially sacred to adults. Implicitly, then, the speaker's awe during this beautiful sunset is a rediscovery of what children feel all the time. The speaker notes that the young girl doesn't seem to appreciate this holy evening as much as he does, but insists that this is only a deceptive outward appearance. To the speaker, the fact that she seems untouched by solemn thought during the sunset doesn't mean her nature is any less divine than the speaker's own. That is, her outward lack of reverence doesn't mean she's any less pious or capable of reverence. In fact, the speaker claims that children are the most holy and reverent of God's creatures and have a kind of access to a divinity that adults have lost. I think this is because children are still pure and innocent. The speaker believes that this child, along with children in general, lies in Abraham's bosom all the year. She's everlastingly in God's presence. Abraham is the central patriarch and prophet in the Jewish, Christian, and Muslim faiths. The bosom of Abraham usually means a place of comfort in the afterlife, but here it suggests the comforting presence of God in one's regular life. Her childlike faith and wonder are a constant, and she has special direct access to God and the sacred, and experiences God's presence when we adults know it not. Thus, the reverence that the speaker feels and wants to share with the reader during the beauteous evening represents a kind of tuning back into the wavelength that kids are always on. The girl may not seem especially full of faith and wonder now, but that's only because she's full of faith and wonder all the time, including in moments when it's much harder for adults to experience these feelings. Theme number 3, sunset. Wordsworth praises the calmness of evening. He also likes the fact that it is free, a time of leisure. He compares sunset to worship. The image of the nun shows how sacred the evening is. It is like a temple, as he suggests later in the poem. It is a time when heaven touches the earth. Theme 4, a father-daughter relationship. The poem shows Wordsworth's love for his daughter, Caroline. He repeats the word dear and praises her natural quality. Thy nature is not therefore less divine. He suggests that in her innocent and natural state, she is close to God. Theme 5, God is revealed by the beauty of nature. Wordsworth believes the sunset is so beautiful because heaven is present in the sky at this time. The force behind the sea is a mighty being, or God. Gazing at a sunset is the same as being present in the temple to adore God. The next theme, Children are connected to nature. The poet states his child is no less divine than the sunset. She is a part of nature and is in the inner shrine, maybe without knowing it. The poem is set beside or near the sea on a beautiful evening. The speaker remarks on the loveliness of the setting, pointing out its seemingly breathless hush, tranquil sunset, and gentle sky over ocean waters. The speaker also urges an accompanying girl and or the reader to listen to a sound like thunder, probably the crashing of the ocean waves, which the speaker attributes to the eternal motion of God. The setting is in fact the inspiration for the whole poem. The scenic atmosphere stirs the speaker's reference towards God and nature, and it also prompts the speaker's reflections about the girl coming along for this evening stroll. Tone and mood. The octave, peaceful atmosphere. The speaker dramatizes the peaceful atmosphere surrounding the characters in the sonnet by comparing the evening to the holy time that is quiet as a nun. This special nun is breathless with adoration. That is deep in a meditative state, worshipping the divine beloved. The countryside through which the speaker and his companions stroll exudes a calm feeling that spreads its way to become to the very heart and soul of peace. Thus, the speaker describes it as calm and free. The speaker reflects on the setting sun, sinking down in its tranquility. It is the poet who is tranquil as well as his surroundings as he remembers them. The speaker then remembers the gentleness of heaven broods over the sea. This special recollection calls him to a vow. The mighty being is awake and doth with his eternal motion make a sound like thunder everlastingly. This is state a spiritually inspiring evening. The poem then switches from mere description of the spiritually inspiring evening to the direct address by the speaker to his companion. Dear child, dear girl that walks with me here. The little girl is a young, uncomplicated child who would not be concerning herself with the presence of the tranquility as her father does. However, the father avers that in spite of her lack of awareness to the soul and thought that infuses his mind, she is still a vital part of the divine plan as anyone or anything else is. The child's nature is not therefore less divine. The little girl, like all children, is a descendant of Abraham, founding father of the Judeo-Christian spiritual tradition. She, therefore, lies in Abraham's bosom all the year. Poetic devices. The holy time is as quiet as a nun. Line 2 has a simile. It is very effective because Wordsworth is saying that the precious time he got with his daughter was quiet and peaceful, just like a nun would be. A nun is being compared to the moment. The gentleness of heaven broods over the sea, line 5. Poetic device, personification. It suggests that while the sun is setting, the heavens above are nesting into the ocean, not literally, but figuratively. Listen, the mighty being is awake, line 6, is personification yet again. The speaker refers to the noise created by the ocean. Personification is used in this instance because it gives the ocean a sense of greatness and strength. A sound like thunder, everlastingly. Poetic device is a simile. It links the sounds that the ocean makes with the noise of the thunder. And worships at the temple's inner shrine, line 14, is a metaphor. The temple in the line is referring to Caroline, Wordsworth's daughter, and is comparing her closeness to nature and overall wholesomeness. In his eyes, she is the inner shrine of the temple, which is a very special position, representing her importance and uniqueness in his mind. Alright guys, that is it for today. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Let us know what poetry analysis you'd like us to do next, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.